and be alive.
Hello and good evening, everyone, to another discussion and webinar conducted by Positivity. Today's topic is vaping and smoking. Is it a youth epidemic? Now, as we all know, that smoking is not something which is unusual. Vaping, although has a lot of restriction in terms of laws in different countries, these are something which are very common and commonly used by the young population across different countries in the world. Now, when we get ourselves very familiar with these terminologies, usage, habits, we somewhere trivialize the impact that it has on our body and mind in the long run. That's something that we are going to discuss today in this webinar. Now, as we begin, I would like to introduce Positivity as a platform to all of you very shortly, and then we'll introduce our speaker for today, and then we will get started. Positivity is a Singapore headquartered mental health organization. We are working across two chains. One is direct to customer and one is B2B, where we partner up with corporates to provide them well-being solutions. Our motto is to bring quality mental health care at an affordable and to the best of your suitability in terms of the specialization, language, ethnicity, population, whatever that is important for you to find your place, your safe place with an expert with whom you can establish your well-being goals. Having said that, now we come to understanding what is today's topic and who are we speaking with. So as I mentioned, today's topic is smoking and vaping. We have Miss Ramya Krishnamurthy who is going to address all of us today to get more insight to how the addiction pattern forms when such behavior starts and then slowly turns into a dependence and then addiction. Ms. Rama is a clinical psychologist. She has 8 years of experience in the field of mental health, psychotherapy, and assessments. She works across different populations, including children, adolescents, adults, and couples. She specializes in areas of behavioral science, which directly addresses the addiction patterns. So I think no better facilitator for today we could have gotten. So thank you, Ramya, for joining us today. And I'm looking forward to a very fruitful session with you.
Thank you so much, Shatadeepa, for the wonderful introduction. So let's start. I will start sharing my screen.
Sure.
I hope this is visible to everyone.
Yes, it's visible. You can go to the slide share mode. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, it's visible now.
Yes.
Okay. So as Shatadeepa has already mentioned, this Positivity is, it's a Singapore-based organization, and where we are trying to improve awareness and acceptance of mental health disorders. We are supporting a collaborative effort to remove the stigma around mental health, both at work and at home. So we provide a bridge between therapists and users to communicate in a safe and secure manner, anytime, anywhere. So let's get started. Basically, nicotine is a highly addictive substance found in smoked tobacco, cigarettes, cigars, pipe bowls, as well as electronic nicotine delivery systems or ENDS. ENDS can be in various forms like e-cigarettes, vape pens, hookah pens. Nicotine is particularly addictive as it brings rapid changes in brain chemistry. So in this webinar, I'll basically be explaining how nicotine works, like how it becomes addictive, what is the psychology behind it, and specifically the ENDS products and what are the myths and the misconceptions that people have regarding that, because it is relatively newer. We know the traditional forms of uh, nicotine, that is smoked tobacco, cigarettes and all, but the electronic devices are not something that everybody is familiar with. So, can we start a poll now?
Yes, sure.
Yes. So, how many people do you know who smoke? Please, just respond. The poll should be available to you on your screen. I'm not able to see the responses. Palaksh, will you be able to tell me?
Yeah, so there are a few and many. In few there is 40%, and in many there are 60% votes.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So I'll just close this. So this just goes to show that, this is something that is very prevalent. I don't think there is anybody out there who has never encountered people who smoke. So of course, a few and many would be this was basically to show how prevalent it is. Now yes. Now, how do ENDS work? So basically, ENDS products are a handheld device which heats the liquid in the device to create a mist. This is where people get confused between the electronic devices and the traditional forms of tobacco. This mist isn't water vapor. It's not just a mist of water. It is an aerosol containing nicotine particles, flavoring, and other substances. It is breathed into the mouth, down the throat, and into the lungs. Now, what exactly is the psychology behind smoking? First, we know that nicotine directly acts on the nicotinic receptors on dopamine neurons, which activates the nucleus accumbens, the pleasure center of the brain. Now, I know that this is very technical, but this does get easier. Okay, so basically, there are the nucleus accumbens is a specific part of the brain, and it is where the pleasure. It is usually called the pleasure center of the brain. Now, the repeated firing of these neurons strengthens these pathways and plays a key part in the development of addiction, right? Now, nicotine is also particularly addictive as it desensitizes the brain receptors each time it is consumed. So, whenever a puff is taken or whenever a hit is taken, the pathway is activated, and it also desensitizes the brain receptors of nicotine. Now, the brain responds to this inactivation or this desensitization by creating more receptors because our brain is very flexible. Like, it adapts. It is known to adapt. It learns to it is actively adapting to any lack that it notices at any time. And this is an example of that. Unfortunately, it works in a negative way. The brain responds to the inactivation by creating more receptors, resulting in cravings. Now, nicotine also hijacks the brain mechanisms that support reward and executive function. Now, what are the reward centers? Reward centers are a central component of the brain's motivational systems that guide behavior. So, nicotine acts in the same way that, say, food or water or sex, all of these things which are very basic, and it elicits a, a sense of reward or a sense of pleasure. The nicotine also it elicits the same response. Now, executive functions, what are they? Executive functions are a set of cognitive processes that are essential for controlling and managing thoughts, actions, and emotions. They include attention, impulse control, regulation of mood, and reward sensitivity, just to name a few. So obviously, as we can see, nicotine hijacks these brain mechanisms, as in it takes over, and it biases them towards nicotine and nicotine associated cues. This means that through repeated exposures, the brain learns that certain cues, such as vape logos or looking at the box, cigarette box, or an ad, and even the shape of the device, are associated with nicotine. This association between these cues and nicotine can be so strong that they may lead to addiction. Let's go on to the next poll. Kailash, can you, yes, please tell me the responses once they've come in.
Sure.
What have the responses been?
100% votes goes to rarely.
Sorry, can you repeat that?
100% votes goes to rarely.
Okay. So that's a good thing. I think a lot of people have, I don't think this is something that thankfully the participants of this webinar have not experienced. By pressured, I didn't mean, coerced by the smokers. More like a lot of times peer pressure, the way it works is, sometimes everybody, when you're at a party, say, or, you're at a party and you're at a table and, everybody, maybe all the others are smokers. So, they just go smoke. And usually people don't smoke at the table. So they go out and, maybe people feel isolated, or maybe they feel left out. And this is particularly true of the youth, because this is how peer pressure is often a big factor as to how teenagers, young adults get into smoking, or it's not exactly coercion from the people around them. It is more that they just get influenced by it. Okay. Now, what is the risk to the youth in particular, right? Now, as we can see, nicotine often disrupts the development of the brain. We now know that the human brain continues to mature until a person is in their mid-20s. So the prefrontal cortex, affecting the prefrontal cortex, which is responsible for functions like impulse control, it develops particularly in adolescence and in young adulthood. So of course, if somebody in their an adolescent or somebody in their early 20s, if they begin to consume nicotine, it can affect their prefrontal cortex and it affects executive functioning. It affects their impulse control. It affects their attention and memory, working memory. It can affect, even the pleasure, being able to find pleasure in other things, which is not, only this substance. Now, increased vulnerability to nicotine dependence and use of other addictive substances. So often, nicotine is seen as a gateway drug. It is also extremely addictive, as we have seen, as we now know, and but it is downplayed quite a bit. The vulnerability to nicotine dependence makes a person dependent on other. It can make them, more vulnerable to other addictive substances. Attention and memory. Attention and memory issues causes learning difficulties and decreased academic performance. Now here, attention and memory issues can be caused for in two different ways. One is, of course, as the developing brain is being affected, attention is also often affected because that is one of the functions. But also it is about the cravings, not if a person who is dependent on nicotine, they begin to have cravings, they may experience withdrawals, and all of this affects their attention and focus, so it makes it difficult. The academic performance begins to decline because they are not able to pay attention to the study material for very long. And when a person is not able to focus on the material for very long, it can affect their memory. It can affect, their ability to recall the subject. Increased risk for mental health issues due to coping strategies. Now we have seen that a lot of the youth, a lot of people use different substances as a way to cope with stress. It is an unhealthy coping strategy, and nicotine is one of the most common ones. It is one of the most common coping strategies used by people, particularly the youth. Now, when a person begins to depend on a particular substance, particularly an unhealthy one, and it's an over dependence. Obviously, they're avoiding their problems, and avoiding our problems never is never helpful. It never leads to anything good, because our problems don't go away if we ignore them, right? So the more we begin to ignore our problems, the more we begin to avoid it. And especially if one uses any particular substance, something as addictive as nicotine, it can lead to other mental health issues like depression, anxiety. It can lead to other self-esteem issues and so on. Now, what are the consequences and the risk that a person may experience due to a nicotine dependence? One is asthma. As we know, more likely to get asthma and other lung conditions, or if a person already has asthma, it can make the existing condition even worse. Now, diacetyl, it's a chemical often used in some flavorings in the ENDS products, and it can cause bronchiolitis obliterans, or which is more commonly called popcorn lung. What is it basically? It is a condition which causes permanent damage in the lungs. And evil, EVALI. EVALI is the full form is e-cigarettes or vaping product use associated lung injury, right? Now, what is this? It is a serious condition that causes widespread damage to the lungs and causes symptoms like coughing, shortness of breath, and chest pain. EVALI can be fatal. In 2019, when there was a huge, when it once came out or it became very, very prevalent, there were a lot of young adults who were affected, and a lot of, I believe, maybe more than 60 people also lost their lives, unfortunately, due to this condition. And it was directly associated with using the ENDS devices. Now, as I had already mentioned, it is a gateway drug. So the vulnerability to nicotine dependence, it makes another person, it makes them vulnerable to nicotine dependence as well as other substances. Mental health issues, 1 second. Yeah. Attention and concentration or mood issues. These are all common mental health conditions that a person can be prone to when they are dependent on a substance. So smoking is, as I said, it is often used as a coping strategy to deal with stress, and it is an unhealthy strategy. So when a person is avoiding their problems, it can lead to much more serious mental health issues. And of course, it is also a huge risk for cancer, just as smoking, and even now ENDS have also been linked to the a probability of cancer. Now, as I had mentioned, there are some myths and misconceptions with regards to vaping and electronic, as I said, the ENDS. It is a relatively new product. It has been here for quite a few years, but there's still quite a few misconceptions when it comes to that. So I will be debunking all of those myths and misconceptions. And of course, if anybody has any questions or if there's something they would like to add, please feel free to just put it in the chat and I will address them. Now, the first one is that it's just water vapor. No, ENDS do not emit water vapor, but they emit aerosols. The liquid in the device contain an array of chemicals, including harmful carcinogens. The next is ENDS products are safer than smoking. There is inconclusive evidence that ENDS can help to quit smoking. This is something that a lot of people thought that it was. It is also thought to be much safer. Now, while it may be safer, which is again inconclusive, the studies have been inconclusive. Maybe it is seen to be safer because it is a relatively new product, so more long-lasting long-term consequences have not been studied as of yet. So there are claims that they are safer than traditional tobacco products, but that is also because they have not been present long enough. ENDS products, they don't hurt anyone around me. So that is another myth. Uh, so secondhand exposure with vape use is just as risky. Particulate matter can settle on objects, which can then become a constant source of exposure to vulnerable populations. Vulnerable populations such as the elderly, infants, children, immunocompromised people. So just smoking, as we know, there is secondhand smoke. ENDS products also emit a lot of uh, harmful harmful particulate in the air, which can then settle on objects in the home or otherwise, or wherever you are. ENDS use is safe during pregnancy? No, it is not. It is unsafe not only for the mother, but also the developing fetus. There have been multiple studies which have shown that it can lead to spontaneous abortions or premature childbirth. Heavy metals in the liquid. As we know, the liquid is not just water, it is a mix of nicotine and a lot of flavoring agents and other heavy metals that are also present. So the heavy metals in the liquid in the ENDS devices have been linked to increased risk of abnormalities in the unborn child. The child may also exhibit hyperactivity, aggressiveness, and oppositional tendencies and other behavioral issues by the age of 2 or 3 years. So just as smoking, it has, mothers or expectant mothers are told to stay away from secondhand smoke. They're told to not smoke at all. The same goes for the ENDS products as well. E&S product use doesn't pollute the environment, which is also not true. They contribute to the growing waste, filling landfills. The e-liquids, heavy metals, metal coils, and other non-biodegradable plastic add to the environmental waste. It is okay to dual use. A lot of young people, they tend to use multiple products at the same time. So they may use a vape, or they might also smoke cigarettes, and they may also smoke marijuana at the same time. Now, it is untrue that dual use is just safe, or it is just as harmful as just using a single particular product, which is not true. Studies have revealed that dual use increase health risks significantly, including conditions like cancer. The most common misconception, another very common misconception, is that ENDS products are not addictive. Now, as we can see, vapes and other ENDS products are extremely addictive. They do cause nicotine dependence, or it can make it worse. If a person already has a dependence, individual differences may be there. Some people are more prone to it, but it's unlikely that a person will not get dependent, because nicotine is a very, very addictive substance. So if anybody has any questions, I can see some things in the chat. Okay. E-cigarettes, yes, e-cigarettes are a type of ENDS. ENDS is basically electronic, one second. Uh, like we said here, just a moment. Yes. So ENDS are basically electronic nicotine delivery systems. They include e-cigarettes as well as vape pens and hookah pens, any electronic mode of smoking nicotine. It is the same. Any other questions?
Then there is one more question saying that
Mhm.
what are the other ends products other than vape?
Okay. Other than vape, as I said, e-cigarettes are there. Then we have hookah pens. There can be many different types of ENDS. Vape pens are becoming more and more uh, prevalent among the youth these days. Any other questions? Okay. So I think we may all be wondering, how does a person then overcome nicotine dependence? There's one more question. Uh, yes, hookahs are very harmful, even though they may not particularly have nicotine, but then you never know. There are also other, again, the flavoring agents. There are other, it is being smoked into the lungs. So it has been found to be just as harmful as cigarettes. It has been linked to lung-related issues. So, how do we overcome? Now, nicotine is a very addictive substance, as we all know. It is very, very difficult to overcome or come out of it. So, a person uh, who is already addicted or who is dependent on nicotine, they will have to be very vigilant. They may need to use other coping strategies. Definitely they will need to
I'm sorry
quit.
to cut
They
you. Can you please
Yes.
reshare your slide?
Oh,
It
yes,
is
yes.
stuck.
Oh, okay. No, I'm just speaking now.
Okay,
There
okay,
is
okay, good.
no further,
Okay, okay, okay.
yeah.
Sorry, sorry.
No, that's fine. So basically, you know, quitting smoking or quitting a nicotine product or even ENDS is extremely difficult because as we know now, it alters the brain chemistry. It can bring a lot of other behavioral issues, making it difficult to control the impulses, control the urge. The cravings can be extremely bad. A person may find it very difficult to concentrate if they are not once they quit smoking, be it the traditional cigarettes or be it the e-cigarettes or the vape pens, it is equally very difficult. So quitting it can bring a lot of cravings, it can bring a lot of withdrawal. So person needs to be more alert about it and try to plan around it. So if they are maybe trying as far as possible to avoid situations where they may be tempted or where their triggers might come up. If they are dealing with a lot of stress, which obviously life is filled with stress, there are times when things get difficult. So we need to they will need to work on their coping strategies, maybe seek professional help as to how they can manage their stress better, or what it is that in their life that may be happening that may have push them or made them feel like they don't have those solutions or they need to avoid or they need to cope in this way. So what is it that led them here and what can they do about it? Seeking professional help is a great way to manage one's dependence. Substitute with chewing gum. Yes, so they can substitute it in the sense that if they are looking to quit eventually, a lot of people they use nicotine patches, they may use nicotine gum, and it does seem to work, but at the end of the day, they do need to reduce it over time because the more again, it's still nicotine going into the system, it is still going into the brain. So eventually they need to use these products to eventually taper off so that they can stop being dependent on it, or rather stop reaching for it every single time. Right? Any more questions? Okay. So I think you can now show the profile. Okay, there's one more question. Thank you. Okay. Uh, can you share the
Yeah,
profile,
sure, sure, sure.
possibility profile? I will stop sharing my screen. Okay. So as you may already have known, I am empaneled with Positivity. I have partnered with them. So we can talk more about this. And if you require help, either with any dependence issues or any mental health support, we can have one-to-one sessions. And this is where you can book the sessions as well. Um, you can see the schedule over here. You can book it on the website directly, and you can also choose the session duration, right? So, yes, I am also trauma informed. My approach is also, I'm also peer affirmative. Uh, I do have a lot of experience in dealing with addictions and helping people get out of their, dependence issues. The other kind of different types of therapies that I offer are cognitive behavior therapy, mindfulness-based cognitive behavior therapy, acceptance and commitment therapy, and dialectical behavior therapy. Of course, it is very integrated. It depends on the individual as to what works for them. In the first session, usually there is a whole plan that is created so that we can see what is the approach that works best for you. So you will find all the details on the profile about the different kinds of concerns that I have experience in dealing with. So you can for further, one-on-one sessions, or maybe even to continue this conversation if this has impacted you, or if it has made you think, hopefully then, or if you think somebody may need help, you can always take an appointment over here on the website. Okay. All right. Any further questions that anyone may have before, or, we can just end the session? Okay. I don't think there are any further questions. So we can leave. Yes.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you all so much for joining. Thank you very much for making this a nice session. Very wonderful questions. And of course, as I said, and if anybody would like to have any further one-on-one sessions, you can take an appointment on the website.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Bye bye.
Yes. Have a nice day, everyone.